We often wonder why life tests us with so many ups and downs. Have you ever thought about why some days feel like victories while others feel like defeats? In our rush to judge each moment, we forget that there's a bigger plan at work. We forget that what seems like a setback today might be setting us up for something greater tomorrow. Maybe you're going through a difficult phase where nothing seems to work out, or perhaps you're in a comfortable spot but feeling oddly restless and unmotivated. Maybe you're stuck between wanting to move forward and not knowing how to take that first step. Then this story is for you. This story won't just make you think. It may also change how you see every challenge and blessing in your life. So listen carefully until the end. In a small town near the mountains, there lived an old carpenter named Samuel. He wasn't wealthy, but he had something special, an unshakable calmness that puzzled everyone around him. Samuel lived with his teenage grandson, Marcus, in a modest wooden house he had built with his own hands. Their life was simple, sometimes struggling to make ends meet, yet Samuel never complained. He would wake up early, work on his carpentry, and teach Marcus the trade. The boy often questioned why his grandfather remained so peaceful even when customers were few and money was tight. One morning, Samuel received unexpected news. The town's wealthy merchant wanted him to build furniture for his new mansion. This was the biggest order Samuel had ever received. Marcus jumped with excitement. "Grandfather, we're going to be rich. This changes everything." But Samuel simply nodded and said, "We'll see, my boy. We'll see." The news spread quickly through the town. Neighbors congratulated them, saying how lucky they were. Samuel began working on the furniture with his usual dedication. But believe it or not, 3 days into the project, Samuel injured his hand badly while cutting wood. The injury was severe. The doctor said he couldn't work for at least 2 months. Marcus was devastated. "This is terrible, grandfather. We lost our biggest opportunity. Why did this have to happen now?" Samuel looked at his bandaged hand and smiled softly. "Marcus, what happens in life is never simple. This injury might seem bad, but we don't know the whole story yet." Marcus couldn't understand his grandfather's calmness. The townspeople whispered about their misfortune. Some said Samuel must have done something wrong to deserve this. Others pitied them for losing such a golden opportunity. Then guess what happened? A week later, the wealthy merchant was arrested for illegal dealings. His mansion was seized, and everyone who had done business with him lost their money. The carpenter who had taken over Samuel's job never got paid for weeks of work. He ended up in debt. Meanwhile, Samuel's injury had saved him from this disaster. Marcus stared in amazement. "Grandfather, your injury, it actually saved us." "You see, Marcus," Samuel replied, "what we call good or bad is often just one page in a longer book. We can't judge the story by reading just one page." As Samuel recovered, they lived on their savings. Things were tight but manageable. One day, Marcus found an injured hawk near their workshop. The bird had a broken wing. "Can we help it, grandfather?" Marcus asked. Samuel nodded. "Every life deserves compassion, my boy." They nursed the hawk back to health. Marcus grew attached to it, feeding it daily and watching it recover. Something surprising occurred after 3 weeks. The hawk was strong enough to fly. Marcus was sad to see it go, but Samuel reminded him, "Love means knowing when to let go, Marcus. The hawk belongs to the sky, not to our cage." Reluctantly, Marcus released the bird. It circled above them once and flew away toward the mountains. 2 days later, the hawk returned, but not alone. It brought a small leather pouch in its talons and dropped it at Marcus's feet. Inside was an old map. Samuel examined it carefully. "This looks like it leads to the old mines in the mountains, but those have been abandoned for decades." Marcus wanted to explore immediately, but Samuel was cautious. "Maps can lead to treasure or trouble. My boy, we must be wise." A few days later, heavy rains caused a landslide that destroyed part of their workshop. Now they desperately needed money for repairs. Samuel decided to follow the map. They climbed the mountain path for hours. The journey was difficult. Marcus complained about the rocky terrain and the cold wind. "Maybe this is foolish, grandfather. We're chasing a bird's gift while our workshop lies damaged." Samuel paused and looked at the vast valley below. Marcus, when one door closes, sometimes we must climb mountains to find the next one opens. Patience, my boy. Patience. Once again, just when doubt crept in, they found the entrance to an old mine. Inside, they discovered not gold or silver, but something unexpected, rare wooden beams from ancient trees, preserved perfectly in the mine's dry atmosphere. This was incredibly valuable to craftsmen and collectors. Samuel's eyes lit up. This wood, it's worth more than any furniture order, Marcus, and it's been waiting here all these years. They carefully transported the wood back to town. When other carpenters saw it, they offered high prices. But Samuel didn't sell everything at once. He used some to repair their workshop and save the rest. Grandfather, why not sell all? We could be wealthy. Marcus asked. See, Marcus, what happens in life is never simple. Today's treasure could become tomorrow's burden if we're not careful. That's why we must be wise with both good fortune and misfortune. Neither lasts forever. As Samuel crafted beautiful pieces from the ancient wood, his reputation grew beyond their small town. People came from distant cities to commission his work. But Samuel never forgot his humble beginnings. He continued living simply, teaching Marcus not just carpentry, but life's deeper lessons. One wealthy customer offered to buy their entire stock and move them to the capital city. You could open a grand workshop there. Samuel, you'd be the most famous carpenter in the land. Marcus's eyes sparkled with dreams of city life. But Samuel politely declined. Thank you, but my roots are here. Fame and fortune are like seasons. They come and go. But peace and purpose? Those we must cultivate wherever we are. The customer left, puzzled by Samuel's refusal. The townspeople thought he was foolish. Even Marcus felt disappointed. Grandfather, we could have had everything. Samuel continued working on a small wooden box, his injured hand now fully healed, but bearing scars. Marcus, having everything offered means losing something more important. Ourselves. Then something remarkable happened. The wealthy customer returned weeks later, not with an offer but with a request. His daughter was getting married, and he wanted Samuel to create something special, not in the capital, but right there in the small town. He brought other wealthy families with him. Soon, the small town became known for Samuel's workshop. Other craftsmen moved there to learn from him. The local economy flourished. Marcus finally understood. Grandfather, by staying true to yourself, you brought prosperity here instead of chasing it elsewhere. Samuel smiled, running his scarred hand over a finished piece. Remember this, Marcus. The hawk didn't bring us treasure. It brought us a choice. Every blessing and every setback is actually a choice. How we respond determines what it becomes. The real lesson is that life is a continuous flow of events that seem good or bad in the moment, but their true nature is revealed only with time. We judge too quickly, celebrate too early, or despair too soon. What feels like the worst thing today might be protecting you from something worse, or preparing you for something better. That's why patience isn't just waiting. It's trusting that there's a bigger picture we can't see yet. Whether it's good or bad, only time can tell. God's plan, the universe's design, whatever you choose to call it, it's always more complex than our immediate perception. Think about Samuel's injury. In that moment, it seemed like the worst timing possible. Marcus saw disaster. The townspeople saw misfortune. But that injury was actually protection. Then the hawk seemed like just a small act of kindness repaid, but it led to discovering the ancient wood. Even the landslide that damaged their workshop pushed them to follow the map. Each event was connected, forming a chain that led to something greater. Maybe something is happening in your life right now that feels like a setback. Maybe you lost an opportunity, faced rejection, or experienced what seems like bad luck. Or maybe you're in a comfortable spot, but feel stuck, unable to move forward. But trust that God's plan is always in motion. What feels like laziness might be your mind and body asking for rest before a big change. What feels like failure might be redirection towards something better suited for you. Remember this. Every master was once a disaster. Every success story is chapters of failure. Every breakthrough comes after a breakdown. The key is not to judge the moment, but to trust the process. Don't fall apart when things go wrong, but also don't get carried away when things go right. Stay centered like Samuel, knowing that both good and bad are temporary visitors in your life. Your current situation is not your final destination. That job you didn't get, maybe it would have prevented you from finding your true calling. That relationship that ended, perhaps it was making space for someone who will value you properly. That comfort zone you're stuck in, maybe life is preparing you for a leap that requires you to first gather strength. The ancient wood in our story have been waiting in that mine for decades, maybe centuries. It wasn't lost or wasted time. It was preparation time. Sometimes what we need has been prepared long, before we even knew we needed it. But we have to be willing to climb the mountain, follow the unusual path, and trust the process even when it doesn't make immediate sense. This is why killing laziness isn't about constant motion. It's about purposeful action. Samuel wasn't lazy. He was deliberate. He didn't chase every opportunity. He didn't react to every situation with panic or excitement. He responded with wisdom. True productivity isn't about doing everything. It's about doing the right things at the right time. Start today doesn't mean making dramatic changes. It means taking one small step in faith. Maybe it's finally working on that project you've been postponing. Maybe it's having that difficult conversation. Maybe it's simply deciding to see your current situation differently. Samuel started by helping an injured hawk, a small act that seemed insignificant but changed everything. Life feels stuck when we're either living in yesterday's regrets or tomorrow's anxieties. But life happens in today's choices. Every morning, you wake up with the same power Samuel had, the power to choose your response. You can choose bitterness or gratitude. You can choose fear or faith. You can choose to see problems or possibilities. The workshop that was damaged by the landslide was rebuilt stronger and better. Sometimes destruction is construction in disguise. Sometimes what feels like life breaking you down is actually life breaking you open to new possibilities, new strengths, new directions you never would have explored from your comfort zone. As you go forward from this story, carry Samuel's wisdom with you. When good things happen, be grateful but not attached. When bad things happen, be patient but not passive. Trust that every thread in your life's tapestry has purpose, even the dark ones, especially the dark ones. They make the bright threads shine even brighter. Your laziness might be fear dressed in comfort's clothing. Your stuck feeling might be life's way of saying you're ready for change. Your setback might be a setup for a comeback. But nothing changes if nothing changes. And nothing changes until you choose to see things differently. If you like this story, don't forget to leave a like. Tell us in the comments, what did you learn from Samuel's wisdom and how you plan to apply it in your own life? Share this with someone who needs to hear this message today. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.